I'm sure you've noticed we're in the heart of Barolo right now. You got La Morra up there, you got the other villages in the back. We are basically on the northern side of the Barolo area, which is made of 11 villages, 11 communes. And right now, between these 11 villages, this is reading the newspapers, it's true, we have about 700 wineries. It's huge, it's crazy. Every house you see, basically, there's a winery today. But what you see today is not what it was, you know, back, not 1,000 years ago, but back basically just 30, 40 years ago. People were living, they had vineyards, but they were selling most of the grapes. They were all selling them to the negociants, to the cooperatives. Most of the people, like my grandpa, had plums and cherries and corn and peaches, you know, they had orchards and animals, chickens, cows, and they were making a living out of everything. There was a bunch of crazy winemakers, or crazy youngsters at that time, like my dad and a group of other winemakers like Mr. Clerico, Mr. Scavino, that started this huge revolution. They were the first to think that you could make a living out of wine. You could make a living out of these beautiful hills that once were mostly covered with fruit trees and sometimes woods as well. Now you just see vineyards. It's vineyards everywhere. And it just started from literally a necessity. My father says that it was very frustrated to see that just next door, you go to the Burgundy, 5.5 hours away, those guys were making amazing wines, were becoming famous, who had money, they were rich, they were popular, and you were coming just here, people were starving. My father said when he was a kid, they didn't have money to buy meat. He was killing with the, what do you call that thing that you pull and you throw?
Catapult.
With the catapult, they were killing the little birds so they could eat, because there was no meat to eat, and that's not 1,000 years ago. My dad is just 60. So they were definitely poor. So my dad and his friends were asking themselves, how come next door those guys are like rich, famous, making money and having a good living, and we can't here? So they figured it out that they had to work the vineyards in a different way, and the goal was not to make lots of grapes, but reduce the quantities to make a better quality of the grapes, so better quality of the wine after. The techniques in the cellar were much different, so the big change is really, to make the story short, because I could talk 4 hours about it.